Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to you. This is an interactive video for the subject of Quality System and Standard. The subject code is JQB20403. Now, before we move on further to our topic for today, let me first introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Nazif bin Hamzah. I'm a lecturer at the Quality Engineering section, and I also held the position as an ISO coordinator at a Quality Assurance section for UniKL Mitec. My highest qualification are Masters in Engineering Management from Brunei Universities in the United Kingdom, and some of my work experience are in Faber's Versus System Berhad as an engineer. Now first, let me give a brief description of our syllabus for Quality System and Standard. Okay, as you can see, these are our syllabus for Quality System and Standards module. Okay, so for this subject, there are 5 learning outcomes that will be need to covered. Okay, so the first learning outcome are to describe what are the basic elements of a quality, environmental and safety system, and what are the planning and control and how to improve these systems. Next is on how to develop, design a quality, environmental and safety management system in an organizations. Okay. The third learning outcome is to describe what are the certification process for each of these systems, QMS, EMS, and this Occupational Safety and Health Management System, or we can call it as an OSHA. Next, the fourth learning outcome is to create, relate, and combine these 3 management system documentation components, including their policies, procedures, work instruction, and their quality records. And lastly, the fifth learning outcome of this subject is to recognize any national that is in Malaysia and international standards, okay, and any other requirements or guidelines that are related to quality system. Okay, the assessments methods for this subject, okay, are based on assignments. That is the portion for this assignment are 20%, and presentation 10%, and we will have test and quiz, so this will cover up 30%. And lastly, this subject has a final exam of 40%. The total number of tests and quiz will be determined later on in the class. Now, we will use these reference books throughout the semesters for this Quality System and Standards subject. Okay, so the module I have developed this module, I combined this module. Okay, these are based on standards, Malaysian standard of ISO 9000, ISO 9001, and ISO 9004. So this module you can have a copy from me. Okay, so there are 6 items that will be covered in today's interactive videos. The first are introductions to ISO, and then next the introduction to QMS, and then an overview of ISO unit at Mitec, and then what are the importance of ISO unit, and lastly at the end of these interactive videos there will be a quiz for you to answer, to test your knowledge on ISO and QMS. Now, I would like to share you a story of an unsolved patient. Okay, so this as an ice breaking to get your brain to work. Okay, so the story goes at a private hospital somewhere in Pasir Gudang. Okay, so at this hospital there's a patient who every night before going to sleep, he will put his ear against the wall in his bedroom. Okay, and then the doctor in charge of this patient are named Dr. Bella, and Dr. Bella have noticed this patient behavior and has been observing him for a few days. The doctor has made various assumptions on what the patient is actually doing, and then eventually she decided to ask the patient for herself what the patient is actually doing. And the next day, Dr. Bella first come to the patient room and tried to place her ear against the wall to actually hear what the patient might be hearing. And then she then asked the patient, why does every night he will place his ear against the wall? What did the patient actually hear? Okay, so this is something that you need to answer. Okay, so in your opinion, what do you think the patient answers to Dr. Bella? Now please take a moment, okay, to ponder your answers and give your answers in a few moments. Alright, hopefully you got the answers, and then we can share it in the class later on. Now, let's get back into our topic for today, that is ISO. What is ISO? Okay, so actually ISO is a term defined as International Organization for Standardization. Okay, so ISO actually is an organization that produces a standard. The ISO word is also used for a standard, a reference, a book reference. Okay, so these organizations are based in Geneva, Switzerland, and this organization was found in 1946 with the objective is to develop a common set of standards in manufacturing, trade, and communication industries. These organizations are composed of various national standards institutes around the world. In total, there are 97 countries that are included in the ISO organization. These are included the American National Standard Institute, known as ANSI. So for in Malaysia, our representatives are from Malaysian Standard, also known as Jabatan Standard Malaysia. This organization published thousands of standards, but the common standard is ISO 9000 series, which have a major impact on the international trade. And this standard is also known as the generic standard, meaning that it can be applied to any types of industries. Now, there are three families in the ISO 9000. Okay, so the first one is 9000, which is describe the fundamental vocabulary and terminologies. Okay, this focus on the definition of terms related to the QMS or Quality Management System. Now, next is ISO 9001. So this standard, it describes what are the basic requirements to have a quality management system, and also this standard is used for certification and registration. Next is ISO 9004. So this standard is used to provide a guideline for performance improvement, meaning that after you establish your QMS, how to manage your QMS, you will need to use this ISO 9004 as a reference on how to improve your QMS. Now, the evolution series of ISO 9000, okay, up to now, there are a total 4 series of revision. So ISO 9000 was first established in 1987, and then it proceeds on to the second revision that was in 1994, and then on the year 2000 it has conducted the third revision, and lastly on the 2008. These are the fourth edition of ISO 9000. So up until 2008, the standard has been revised. Okay, so as you can see, 1997 was the first edition, 1994 was the second edition, 2000 was the third edition, and then 2008 was the fourth edition. Now, you can see these are used for the year of revision. And then the figures in front are used to determine what are categories of those standards, either 9000, 9001, and then 9004. So as you can see in the evolution, it was first started out as a 9000, 1987, up until the latest one, 9001, 2008. Okay, so in 1987, which is the first edition of ISO 9000, it has first come up with three, that is 9001, 9001, 9002, and then 9003. This continues up until second edition 1994, and then in the third edition, which is the year 2000, this 9002 and 9003 has been replaced by ISO 9001, and now this continues up until to the fourth edition, which is in 2008. So these are the current edition that are being used for QMS, or Quality Management System. And the next revision are in 2015, which is expected to be established in the September 2015. So what we can see in evolution, ISO has determined that a standard need to be revised every 5 years cycle. But in actual practice, okay, it doesn't seem as 5 years. As you can see, 1997 to 1994. Okay, there's a big gap, more than 5 years. So this, what happened is that it requires a certain amount of time for the revision to be done, and then actually there are 4 stages before a final standard can be established. So the first stage is for the ISO committee to draft a working draft. Next stage is to draft the international standard, also known as DIS. And the third stage is the final DIS, and lastly the fourth stage, a finalized standard can be established. Okay, so why do standards need to be revised? So a standard needs to be revised as technologies, it will change according to time. The new technology replace the old technologies. So apart from this, a standard need to keep up with the changes of the new technology. Okay, the changes also used as to meet the new or current requirement, and it will act as to ease the operation, or to give a much easier or clearer interpretation of those standards. And lastly, the changes are required to ensure a compatibility with other types of standard. Okay, now ISO 9001-2008 are closely based on the 8 quality management principles, or also known as the Deming principle. Okay, so the first principles are customer focus, meaning that a system are developed to deliver a product or services to the customer, meaning to satisfy customer requirement. The next principles are leaderships. What are the top management roles and responsibility in ensuring an effective QMS? Next, the third principles are the involvement of people, meaning that to involve employees within the organization in developing an effective EMS. And these principles are closely related to clause 6.2.2. Next, the fourth principles are process approach. So process approach are focusing on the process. What are the related activities that are required in the quality system to achieve the organization objective. Next, the fifth principles are system approach to management, meaning that on how to manage these different types of process in the organization and align it into one system. Next, number 6 are continual improvements. So what are the activities that can be done to improve our system? These principles are closely related to clause 8.5.2. And then the seventh principles are factual approach to decision making, meaning that an organization makes a decision based on data, based on actual data. So these principles are closely related to clause 8.4. And lastly, the 8th principles are mutually beneficial supply relationship. These principles are closely related to clause 7.4, meaning that what are the win-win situation between an organization with its supplier? What are the two agreements that can be achieved between these two parties? So in overall, standards are designed to establish a consistent language and terminologies. It also provides a baseline quality practices that are accepted internationally. And lastly is the standards are developed in order to reduce the need for costly on-site supplier assessment. Okay, now let's move on to QMS. So what is QMS? QMS can be defined as management system to direct and control an organization with regards to quality that complements other company system, meaning that it is a system to provide directions to the organization in satisfying its customers, and then in ensuring that this system being developed can be matched with other system. Okay, next, how can we develop a QMS? First of all, we can ensure that our current available process are in a stable and standardized condition. Next is to ensure that we have a proper documentation such as SOP or working instructions. Next, what we can do is to conduct internal auditing. So this can highlight any areas of improvements. And lastly, after that, we can register our system under the ISO 9001 certification. Okay, so why do we need a QMS? So first of all, a QMS will provide a clearer focus of the customer needs. If we tell you or if provide a clear customer's requirements, it will then provide a continuous improvement process for our product or services. Next, it can ensure an effective empowerment and recognition of the individual, meaning that each employees in the organization are given the chances to contribute to the organizations. And lastly, it acts as a competitive advantage to any company that are ISO certified. Okay, compared to a company without a certification, we get less advantage in the marketing position. So the model that will be used for QMS are called process-based model for quality system. So in this model, okay, it has an input that is the customer requirement, the processes which is based on the 5 requirements starting from clause 4.0 management responsibility, 5.0 resource management, 6.0 productization, okay, measurement analysis, and lastly on the continual improvement. So at the end of the process, we have the customer satisfaction, which is an output for our system. So this output will be used as an input, meaning that output in terms of a feedback from our customers. So this feedback can be gained either from a survey or from a marketing research. So this feedback will be used back into our input. So meaning that this cycle will keep on continuing. Now, for a QMS, there are 4 levels of documentation structures. So the first level, which is level 1, which is on top of this pyramid, are called the quality manual. So this level 1 of documentation will define the policy statements, the organization commitment, and the organization responsibility. It will define the approaches and responsibility of the organization. Next, for level 2, known as the quality system procedures. In this level, it will define who, what, and where, okay, of the company practices. So for example, if they want to produce a high quality machine, what are the machines that they need to purchase? Example, these are some of the examples. Okay, next, level 3, work instruction. So this level will answer on how to achieve level 2, meaning that what are the process of using this high technology machine that is on level 2. Okay, so level 3 will describe in detail of those steps of using those machine. And lastly, we have level 4, quality records. So this level 4 will act as an evidence. It shows that we have done our process, we have done our activities in terms of documentation evidence. Okay, next, in summary, a quality system will first of all satisfy our customers by providing a high quality product or providing a high quality services. It will then helps to gain self-confidence either to the company or to the customers that use the organization product or services. Next is that it will help to achieve competitiveness in the marketing segment. And lastly, it acts as a blueprint or evidence for efforts of our initiative to improve our organizations. Now let's apply some of those knowledge in quality system with our actual surrounding. That is, what are the activities or function of ISO unit at UniKL Mitec. Okay, so some of those functions of ISO unit is first to maintain the MQA accreditation, which is MQA is the responsible body that has been given the task to maintain our level of quality, education quality in Malaysia. Okay, next is for this unit to ensure an effective of our ISO 9001 certification. So we are now at the end stages of our 4th edition, which is 9001-2008. So we'll be move on to a transition to the latest edition, which is the 5th edition, 2015. So the ISO unit will ensure the smooth transition between 2008 to 2015 version. And lastly is to ensure a high quality working environment in the UniKL Mitec. Okay. Next, these are some of the activities that are being done at ISO unit, such as is to maintain our documentation. So any changes in our document will need to follow these procedures, which is to fill in this form, which is FMQS 005 revision 1. So these forms are known as the document change request form. Okay, now let's move on into a little bit of what is management review. So this definition of management review, which is based on clause 5.6, so this definition is gained from the ISO 9001-2008 Book of Standard. So in general, it mentioned that management review are to ensure that any activities are planned, okay, to ensure continuous suitability, adequacy and effectiveness of the management review. So this include for the top management to review any changes in the QMS. This includes the quality policy, which are the directions of our QMS, and the quality objective, which is the target of our QMS. Now, there are 7 items that will be reviewed during a management review. So this is known as the input to management. So the management should be review the results of the audits first, and then customer feedback, and then the performance, the process performance and product conformity, and then the status of preventive and corrective action, the follow-up action from previous management, and then the changes that could affect to the quality management system. So if there are any changes, need to be highlighted in this management review. And lastly, they need to review on the recommendation. So what are the recommendations that can be done to further improve the QMS? Okay, so these are some of example of a quality policy for UniKL Mitec, which is the policy is to meet the needs of the clients to the highest quality of education, training, research and services. And then for quality objective, there are 4 quality objectives for UniKL Mitec. So the first quality objective is to strengthen the teaching and learning, research and development. Second objective is to drive the innovation and entrepreneurial culture in the university community. The third objective is to meet the quality standard and industrial practices. And lastly, the fourth quality objective is to build and strengthen the Mitec brand image. Okay, so next, the activities. So some of the activities related to the quality assurance section at UniKL Mitec is first is to conduct the internal audit, and then is to conduct the surveillance audit, which is done by a third party or external party outside of UniKL Mitec. The third activities are 5S certification. So our current certification of 5S are certified by MPC in 2014. And then the fourth is any Kaizen activities, which is small improvement initiative. Okay, so for internal audit, we have 24 sections in UniKL Mitec, and then we've clustered into two groups. The first group more on the administrative, and the second group on the different type of department related to the teaching and learning. So some of the Kaizen examples has been conducted at the library, such as the changes of manual book loan process. So we change from the manual process, which is we need a librarian to be attended at the counter before a student can loan a book, by replacing to automatic, so that the student themselves can borrow a book without the need of a librarian attended at the counter. So in terms of using a scanner to scan the book, so that it can ease the loaning process. Okay, so lastly, importance of ISO unit is to ensure an effective QMS certification and how to maintain those certification. Okay, and then lastly, we need to ensure what are the consequences if our certification, ISO certification, are being revoked from our external body or our certified body. So some of the consequences might be, we might lose our customers. For example, we might lose students coming to register or coming to study at UniKL Mitec. So that are some of the example. And outside example for industry, so people might lose their confidence in purchasing a product with a company that do not have an ISO, or with a company that their certification has been obsolete or not being updated. Okay, so class, we're coming to an end of our interactive videos. If you have any questions, please do drop an email to muhammadnazif@unikl.edu.my, or you even can come to my office located at BKM 2 level 3. Oh yeah, wait, not to forget, as promised, I have prepared questions for you to answer. So let me put the question up on the screen for you guys to answer. So these are the questions that need to be answered. There are 10 questions, A, B, C. Please select the correct answers for each question, and you have 10 minutes to answer this question. Good luck and all the best. Okay guys, thank you for listening to this interactive video. After this, we'll be seeing in class, and if you have any further questions, we will discuss in the class later on. Once again, thank you.